Okay, today's subject is how species come into being that species. Traditionally, in evolution, the theory is that it's a gradual process. That is, one thing gradually morphs over a series of generations from one species into another species, known as speciation. A species is a species because it can breed within itself, other members of the species you can breed with, and the old species that you used to belong to, you can no longer breed with it because your genetics are too far apart. That's the theory of evolution and speciation, a gradual change in the genetic codes that lead from one species to another. Now, I like looking at the back pages of the internet where there's all these alternative theories about how things came to be. And these people, for example, the theosophists, say that when it comes to humanity, there were what is known as root races that were introduced, and now we're in the fifth root race. And these root races just appeared like that. I'll snap my fingers. And there they were, these races of humans. They just appeared. Now, we don't know if there was a gorilla that gave birth and it didn't look like a gorilla, it looked like a human child. We always want to know these things. Exactly how long these missing links were around. Well, they say that there's no missing links. That's not really true. There's a lot of intermediate steps between ancient monkeys and humans, Australopithecus africanus, and various other Australopithecus. For example, you can take this in paleontology, anthropology, and learn all these kind of things. So why is it that on the back pages of the internet, people believe that humans just appeared? Well, there was a strange man that I used to follow because he was quite funny. His name was Stuart Wilde. And Mr. Wilde said, humans did just walk into this world. They came in kind of sideways. And it was kind of a metaphysical thing. They walked right in. And the humans always existed, is what somebody else might have said. And the simple form of the human was always a human, once a human, and never was anything other than human. Well, that's what people say, but, where's the evidence? I don't know. Have you ever seen anybody walk right out sideways into another dimension? No. Why do we like these stories? Because we want something different. We want something new. The theory of evolution is talking about eons of time. And we're only here for a short while. If you're lucky, you'll make it to be 100 years old. It's certainly not long enough for things to evolve. As far as humans go, what do you want to evolve into? Well, it's actually possible to evolve yourself from a species known as Homo sapiens sapiens. That's what we call the normal humans in Latin. into another species known as, let's get this right, Homo spiritus or Homo luminous. That is a more advanced human. And Homo spiritus happens when you raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. How do you do that? Well, get the book. I could get the books plural by David R. Hawkins, noted psychiatrist and spiritual teacher, and he'll teach you how to raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. The scale runs from 1 to 1,000. It's a logarithmic scale. If you remember logarithms from high school. If you don't, well, it just simply means 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2, it's equal to 4. Come on, everyone remembers logarithms. And 1 on the scale is the consciousness of an amoeba. That's a single-celled organism that you learned from biology, something you'd find in pond water. 1,000 would be the consciousness of the great Buddha, Jesus Christ, Krishna, Zoroaster, famous avatars. The highest you can get is 1,000 on the scale of human consciousness. So if you make 1,000, then what happens? Well, Jesus ascended into heaven. In other words, he didn't just stop at 1,000, the highest level that you could be in a human body. He continued to advance. Dr. Hawkins told us that things that were more advanced than the most advanced human are things like angels and archangels. An archangel could be at, instead of 1,000, it might be at 50,000 or 500,000 on this logarithmic scale. So certainly a different class of being altogether. What would evolutionary biology have to say about that? Well, I think they'd probably guffaw and laugh. We kind of lost your nose there, Cheech. Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong. Ha 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 ha. Or maybe you're like Tommy Chong, and it's more like, this is too much for me. So if you want to become an angel, it would be apparent that there's no path for you if you follow biology. You're not going to learn advanced biology at a university that's going to teach you how to be an angel. It's just not there. Are they going to teach you to become some other kind of mammal? No. There's no teaching in modern biology that's going to help you evolve yourself. So it's a complete write-off to even try. Then I'm thinking about Spider-Man and, his mixing of genetics with spiders. Do you want to go and do this? It's something from the old H.G. Wells. I think it was H.G. Wells, the great sci-fi author, and The Island of Dr. Moreau, where they mixed different genetic materials together and they created mixtures of animals and humans. This is known as a chimera, and this kind of research is actually being done. Do you want to, do you want to become like a Spider-Man? Perhaps there is some roads that you might take. I don't know. You'd have to do some kind of genetic engineering. How would this go about? Well, if you wanted to become a Spider-Man, what you would need to do is take the genetic code of spiders. You'd have to have a lab and break down the DNA into small bite-sized pieces. You could use a technology called CRISPR to do this. You might be able to use zinc finger nucleases to do this as well. And then you would put those things into a virus capsule and infect yourself with the virus containing the genetic material of spiders. Would this be a good idea? Would this turn you into a spider-like being? Uh, well, we have to go faster. You're making me ponder these things. Is it possible? Well, yeah, it's possible that you could get the genetic material from a spider into the human cells, yes. Would you get them into all the cells? Well, what kind of a virus are you using? Most viruses that we are familiar with are respiratory viruses that infect the lung tissue. Um, do the viruses from the common cold get into every cell in the body? Uh, Not that I'm aware of. So the question is, what kind of a thing is going to go on? Well, instead of going and putting it into a fully grown organism, maybe what you might want to do is get a human egg, and then infect the human egg with the spider virus, and then from there, then grow the egg in an incubator, perhaps. You can find, I don't know, maybe someone volunteer to host your egg, or you can get in an advanced laboratory and maybe use a monkey or something. This is not within the realm of, it's not possible. These things are possible. And the only thing is, the spider DNA and the human DNA really don't work together very well. I mean, they're very different species, arachnid and mammal. But you can play around and see what you get. It's very. I don't know. We're really getting into comic books. What you might get, because how are you going to turn on the genes that belong to the spider in a human? You can't really snap your fingers and do it. You're going to have something more complicated. You're going to have some control over those genes to turn them on. And then what are they going to do? Well, are you going to have spider like appendages coming out of this baby? Moving along. What else do we want to talk about? Thanks for watching. Okay, well, if you're still watching, we want to know more about how you become an angelic. So you got to get yourself up to 1,000 on the scale of human consciousness. Now, to give you an idea, humanity as a whole, before Dr. Hawkins passed away, let's go with around the early 2000s, 207 on the scale is where humanity as a whole was. He said 0.4% of humans were at 600. And as far as getting up close to 1,000, let's go with 8 individuals on the whole planet between 700 and 1,000. So it's a very rare thing. Then again, before Dr. Hawkins and his pathways through the scale of human consciousness, it was very hit and miss. People didn't know there was a scale, and people didn't really know what to do to become an enlightened Buddha. Oh, that's what you could do. You could follow the path of the Buddha and follow into enlightenment. But Buddha is a Buddha and not an angel. Dr. Hawkins didn't talk about what happens to advanced Buddhas, but if you learn muscle testing, and you can learn from the appendix in Dr. Hawkins' books, or if you look for muscle testing for truth on YouTube, you can find a pathway to determine where people are on the scale of human consciousness, and you can test to see where you are. Buddhist enlightenment comes about by sitting under the Bodhi tree and meditating for a great long time. There's one pathway, there's probably others. I'm no expert, but then again, who is? So if you wanted to become an advanced Buddha or an advanced angel, you've got to get yourself up to 1,000 on the scale. And I do think that meditation is one path that will help you get there. Reading Dr. Hawkins' books, will that help you? My God, they're a difficult read. But if you really, really want to become an advanced being, an angel, you're going to have a teacher. And Dr. Hawkins is a great teacher. You can get his videos, Veritas Pub, Veritas Pub is the website. And from there you can order his videos. His videos are much easier to watch than reading his books. But, if you're a smart cookie, and you got to be pretty smart to figure these things out, otherwise, why would you be interested in becoming an angel? Do you think the average dummy wants to be an angel? Oh, I don't know. Why do you ask me hard questions? I'm just not that smart. Anyways, in order to become an angel, you have to evolve into Homo spiritus, is what Dr. Hawkins called it. And in order to get there, you got to get up to 1,000 and beyond. Is it possible? Dr. Hawkins indicated it was. So don't let me stand in your way. Get busy on letting go of your ego and advancing towards peace, love, truth, enlightenment. That's the way you get into these higher levels of consciousness. Now, if you're an angel, does it mean when you get to be 1,000 that your body is no longer physical? No, people who are at 1,000 on the scale of human consciousness are still in human bodies. So what does Dr. Hawkins mean by Homo spiritus? You get to 1,000 and find out. Homo luminous is a term not used by Dr. Hawkins, but it's used by some other people on the internet. And that means that your body shifts from being a physical body to being a body of light. How does that happen? Well, let me ponder. It seems to me that these teachings come from perhaps Tibetan Buddhism. So, in the Buddhist way of being, you do a lot of meditation, and they've got a lot of. Have you heard of Tummo? Tummo. That's when one of these Buddhist monks goes out wearing a pair of underwear, and it might be, I don't know, minus 20. And they sit in the cold, and the steam rises off them because they're so hot in a cold climate. So the ability to regulate one's own body temperature independent of clothing is one of the things that you can learn from Tibetan Buddhism. These kind of things. Oh, Mantak Chia is another person from, I'm not sure exactly where he is, somewhere in China or Malaysia or one of those Eastern countries. Look up Mantak Chia because he's somebody else that deals a lot with chi. And cultivating chi for yourself is something you can do. Yeah, I'll get you really interested. One of his books is titled Sexual Kung Fu. So if you like that idea, Mantak Chia, Chia, Mantak, Mantak. Mantak Chia is your guy. And there's videos available. He is recommended by people on the internet. Have I done it? I read some of his, a little bit of his stuff. Have I cultivated chi? Somebody told me yesterday on a YouTube video, you do it for 30 days and see what happens. Did I do it for 30 days? I'm kind of a lazy cuss. No, I didn't do it for 30 days. I might have tried it for, one time to see if I could do it. And no, I don't think I've cultivated my chi. So as much as I'd like to do Tumo and not have to wear heavy blankets and going out into -20, I'm really not there, and I should give myself a kick in the ass. I'm not really going to fly to Tibet to figure this out. Well, it's just so easy to go and put on a warm jacket and, find a nice warm house and stay inside in the wintertime. What about winter activity? Well, I go for a walk in the cold, and I've been known to strap on a snowboard and play in the snow. I just don't do it naked. So, anyways, we're talking about how to become an advanced human. And I'm telling you, if you want to become an advanced human, learn from the Tibetan Buddhists how to do Tummo, Tummo, and that's how to raise your body temperature even when it's very cold out. Well, I don't think that's quite right. Your body temperature is still going to stay at 37 degrees Celsius. Your body temperature needs to stay there. It's just that in a person like me, if I go out and it's -20 and I'm wearing underwear, very soon my body temperature and the external is going to fall. And if I stay out too long, I'll die of the exposure to the cold because my core temperature very soon will drop below 37. And, the human body needs that warm-blooded temperature in order to function. So the Tibetan monk doesn't let his body temperature fall below 37. He does these things that, you got to learn. Would that be Homo luminous? Well, there's another story that comes out of this same teaching, Tibetan Buddhism. It's called the rainbow body, and that's where these advanced practitioners do actually change from an old physical body into a luminous light body. The rainbow body is what it's called. There's a story there, and I'll leave it up to you to research it. What did I find when I researched it? Well, the stories. I found the stories, and I did tell you can learn Tummo. I think the first step towards getting a rainbow body is learn Tummo, because it's something that will prove to you that you're actually becoming an advanced human. If you can go out in -20 wearing a pair of underwear and that's all, and you don't die of the cold, then you've certainly made great advances on the average Joe. So start with Tummo and see where that takes you. Keep up your studies. So that's how you become a Homo luminous. Follow the path of the Tibetan Buddhist. So that's basically two ways of becoming, evolving yourself. You can become an enlightened being and go on the path of becoming an angel. Or you can go with the rainbow body of Tibetan Buddhism to become a Buddha. I don't know, we've talked about evolution. Is there anything else that I can talk to you about when it comes to this subject? At the present time, we've been in here long enough. Dr. David R. Hawkins and Mantak Chia, and I don't have the name of an author, but look for Tummo, Tummo. Those are 3 different places you can go to advance yourself so that you can evolve yourself beyond being human. I'm Bobby Burrows, your local comic, and I'm not telling you anything that's going to make you laugh. I'm trying to make you, I don't know, maybe you're... Thanks for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and share my video with anybody who you think is long-winded and might actually like to watch something other than NBC News with Lester Holt.